Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the CMA training. Episode 2. Okay. All right, so I'm in Flex. I'm going to stay in Flex today so you guys can see how to work this in Flex. There is a video out there I've done with how to do CMAs on Flex. So what I currently do, I'll probably put things in Flex and then transfer the data into Cloud CMA just because I like the way Cloud CMA looks and feels. The presentation is just really great to me if I'm going to a seller. If I'm doing a buyer quick thing, I'm not doing it in Cloud CMA. I'm going to do something real down and dirty here and do it right here in Flex and just give it to the buyer. Okay, so that's the way I currently do things. You can do whatever you want. You can do it in Cloud CMA. You can do it here, but I'm going to focus on Flex for a bit. So let's just say I'm going to use this property 7408 Meadow Sage. The first thing, if this was my property and this is for a seller, I'm going to look at this property a couple of different ways. I'm first going to look inside the MLS and see if it's ever been sold before. So you go into MLS, put it in there. In this case, it's active on the market right now and it closed sometime before. Let me look at both of those, take a poke at it. So I'm going to copy this and you can see I have 2 windows open already, right? My first window I have here is already on my CMA. Let me show you where this is at. If you go to Flex MLS, if you haven't on your menu, you probably got a drop down here. It says CMA. I click that open. So this, I'm going to start a new CMA here in a second, but then I open another tab and I start looking at the properties a couple of different ways. This is the first look. When I'm looking at it, I'm just trying to get data, square footage, looking at pictures. In this case, it was listed in 2016. It sold at $228,950. Price was $127 square foot. Sold on March 9th, 2017. A year later, look at the square footage. It was measured by the builder, so that's when it was built. Then I look at the current, do the comparison. Maybe take a look at those pictures too. See if anything's been changed since the time that it was first listed to now. Maybe they knocked the wall down. Maybe they did something to the backyard. Run through that real quick. All right. Granite countertops. Look at the flooring. Look at that. And then I'll come up here and see what it's currently on. I would do this with any of the listings it's been advertised on. So let's see if there's anything different. It looks like the same house. That's a good thing. Right. Run through some pictures. Look like the flooring's different now, right? Because it had carpet in before. Looks like it's vacant. Look like you got some used carpet in there. I should say worn carpet. Looks like the bathroom's been redone since they first listed it. But definitely the flooring is different, 100%. All right, I'll go back over the details. The original square footage was 1,800. Now they got 1,801. All right, cool, no problem there. 2 days on the market. But take the same address and check it out in the county records before I start doing the CMA. And look at it in RPR. I go to El Paso CAT, go to property search, and look at the previous year. They probably don't have the tax data for 2026. Now I would put that property in here and see what's on it. Let's hit it. Search. All right. 370 being taxed at. This is the appraised value. First thing I'm going to go to is the building itself, see what the square footage is. I got 1,800, 1,801. Look at the zoning, any of that information. If I was doing a listing for this, I would come back over here for the property and see if they have any exemptions. If you click on exemptions, you can see all the different types of exemptions people can get. Why would this be important to me? As a listing agent, I would want to know the tax transfer information of what that's going to look like for a buyer to transfer to this, for the seller to transfer to the buyer. If we got a 100% disabled person that don't pay any taxes, that could have a impact on the transfer. Okay. Look at it from there. I would also come and look at it Again, from a different angle, I keep all these windows open, copy. I'm gonna open up another window. When you get in here, I'm gonna look at it from RPR. So click on RPR. It's gonna take you through a process to sign in. And now they've enhanced with the AI, with the CMAs. You could probably do a quick CMA with RPR. So I would come here, put the property address in there again, hit paste. They found the record. I would click on it. And again, I would just look at the data. 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. Everything's really consistent with the lot. They're giving a value of 372. Okay. And just look at this. You could almost run the CMA from RPR and it takes a matter of a couple of seconds, which is just fine. If you don't want to do all the stuff I'm doing right now, it would probably be okay. And then you can also go through a refine value where you can put in adjustments and stuff like that. You can do it that way as well. But let's keep on going here. So you can do a lot of stuff with RPR. Might be safer. Okay, so back over here, 1,800 square feet. Pretty confident the lot's that size. Pretty confident with the amenities. I'm pretty confident with the layout of the property. I'm pretty confident with the flooring and all this other stuff, right? So now I'm going to hit new. I'm going to make sure I'm in residential. I'm going to make sure that I'm in approximate square feet. I'm going to hit next. And now it's asking me who is for. Buyer client or seller client name, whoever that may be. Down here, it gives you the ability to make some comments. This is your opening statement to the seller client. Hey, thank you for your time. Thank you for this. This is a CMA. Tell them what a CMA is. You know, do that stuff, right? Hit next. And then you have an option to put the subject property in here, right? The subject property is 74 8 Meadows Sage, right? So I'm going to copy this number because it's been in there before. I'm comfortable with the data that it has in there. It gives you 2 options. You could populate all this information by hand, or you can populate it from a field from existing listing. Click on that. Go to Great El Paso, put the listing information in there, hit submit, and it's going to populate all the pictures and everything for you and all the data. Okay. If you don't do that, or you don't have a listing from before, or you're not comfortable with the data being provided, then you would have to put all that stuff in there yourself. From here, if there's anything you need to adjust, let's say it had a fireplace and it didn't populate, you would just say, hey, fireplace, whatever that may be. If you wanted to add more stuff here, you come down and hit new item, and you can do a drop down and add a new item. So you could go ahead and add it as a category of adjustment if need be. I don't see anything we need to add. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that off. And I'm fine with what I have. Okay, everybody with me? So this is how you get the subject information. So now I go here. And in the back of your mind, keep in mind the square footage, because the next page is going to be the comps. So I'll hit next. It automatically populates 0.25, right? I like to spread it out and do about 0.5 just so I can see everything. And it's going to do a radius of 0.5 miles out. I don't really feel like any of this other stuff matters to you unless you wanted to add certain sold properties. You can add it by MLS number and make sure you just separate it by a comma. If you wanted to do that, you say, okay, these are the comps I want to compare it to. You can do it that way. But for the most part, 0.5 mile radius is probably good. Make sure we identify the MLS. We don't want Las Cruces, right? And then we come down here, we say find comps. From here, we haven't told Flex exactly what to look at. So now we got to narrow this down or make sure Flex is looking at what we need to look at. So I go to edit search. And now from the top to bottom, we want to point Flex in the right direction. So the first thing we want to do is point Flex into to Gepar, because that's where we're at. The next thing we want to make sure is in residential. There's drop downs for residential lease, land, whatever. We want to make sure we're in residential. We don't want residential lease. We got our radius. Right now, what I'm going to look at, I want Flex to look at active, because that's going to be the competition. I want Flex to look at closed. I don't want expireds. And the only major road that I see that is crossing is Wrestler. And it doesn't seem like nothing's on that other side of Wrestler. So I'm pretty comfortable so far where it's pointing at and what we're picking up. And it seems like we have a lot of activity over here. So I'm pretty happy with this. If I wanted to change how far to go back, right now it's giving me sold data for 365 days back. We want sold data for how far back, ideally. So I can come in here and change this to 90 days. All right. There's 17. Right. Now, if we wanted to add any other amenities, let me look at my list first. The first thing I want to do is dial into the square footage, because I think that's huge. We got our date range. Now we want the big three. What's our big three? Date range, location, and size. So let me dial into the square footage. I'm going to add a block here and start typing square footage. We want approximate main square footage. Since it's 1,800 square feet, I'm probably going to go down 200 and above by 200 square feet. Okay. So now that gives me a small range of 6, but it looks like we only have one sold property in that range. So I might have to open that up in square footage a little bit more, or I got to go deeper in time. So maybe I might need to open this up instead of 90 days, maybe 6 months. As long as my market hasn't changed, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to say 180 days to see if I can get some more closed properties. So we're getting 2. Let's go take a look at them. Let's look at the list. And you can come and look at the status here. This is one about 1868, very close. Looked like it sold at 400,000. So that's definitely a good comp. But to be sure, I would go and look at the square footage, the pictures, and everything that goes along with this property, and see if it's compatible to mine. It has a pool. So we're going to adjust for the pool on that one, right? So to me, the only standout adjustment is going to be the pool. Okay, this is going to be crazy. The subject has a pool? Oh, does it? Okay, great. Thanks. Good to know. We're good. All right, so we know that's a good comp, right? Let's look at some other stuff. Look at something close. Let's look at this one. See if there's anything crazy. The square footage here is about 1751. Great. Looks pretty good. Now let's look at the pictures. Does this one have a pool? Okay, no pool. And we'll go through these. It's probably going to be a good comp. All right, great. We got 2. All right. Of course, that one as well. We want to get 3. So we got a choice. That's the choice we got to make. Looking at our list, looking at our market, I'm going to go back over to tell this to go back another 90 days. All right, let's go back over to our list. And we got that one. Let's see if it's not closed. Look like we have this one. This was added to the list. It's within range. It is a 2-story. All right. In this case, I would use it. If the year group's good, it's in our range, I would still use it. 4-2, still use it. Let's go to those details and do the same thing. Pictures of the inside. That's a lot of pictures of the outside. The flooring. I don't know if that's tile or not. It's wood. I'm gonna guess it's tile. It's wood tile. I'm gonna get. If that was wood flooring, it might make an adjustment, but I think it's wood tile. I'm basing on what's hot and not right now. I don't see people putting in real wood flooring right now.
In the area.
If it was an older home, I probably would have said it's real wood. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. I'm gonna say yes, good. We got 3. And this one doesn't have a pool. So I select these 3. I got my 3 comps. I'm gonna return to the CMA up here. These are our 3 that we're gonna compare it to. We know a little bit about these properties, and we can go to the next page, which now is the adjustments. So on this page, we'll drop each one of them down. And we know that Autumn Sage doesn't have a pool, right? Let's do this. We'll open up each one. I think this has the pool, right? Does it have a pool? This one doesn't have a pool. So Skyrocket doesn't have the pool, right? Okay, gotta remember that. Let's go back over here. So Skyrocket doesn't have the pool. Autumn Sage has the pool, right? Yes, just get my bearings. I've already preloaded auto adjust comparables. We hit the auto adjust. It's gonna bring this up. Do you wish to proceed? I hit yes. I'm gonna walk you guys through this in a second. So it doesn't have the pool there, right? So our subject has a pool, right? So we're gonna add a new adjustment. We're gonna put the pool in here. And I'm gonna come over to Autumn Sage. Since Autumn Sage has a pool, we don't need to do an adjustment, right? We're good. But I just want to make sure it's on there. I'm just gonna put 0 in there because we don't need to adjust. I'm gonna drop the other one down. Skyrocket doesn't have a pool, right? So I'm gonna add a new adjustment. I'm gonna put the pool in there. And since it doesn't have a pool, it's inferior. So it's gonna be plus 10K. I'm doing 10K instead of 7,500 because it's on the west side. And then the next one to drop down is Meadow Sage. Meadow Sage, did it have a pool? It did not. Okay, so we're gonna create that adjustment on Meadow Sage. Add another 10K over here. It makes the adjustments. We hit next. Let's go give this range here and all this other stuff. We hit next again. And it says recommended price based on, you have 2 calculations here. It says calculations high to low price using a high price for comparables. So 381,263, right? Are you gonna go in with 381,263? Nah. This is where you make a judgment call. And you might go, hey, 387 to 392, which is about 5K, right? Make sure you put your dollar signs in there so you can look very professional. All right, and hit next and view. And this is what your comp would look like going into that listing presentation with the seller. Has all the comps, all the adjustments when you see that. And then it gives you this recommended price range, right? And down here at the bottom, it has your 387 or whatever. So it's listed at 385. So that's how you would come to this point. They landed on 385, pretty good, right? Once you put all this in here, it has our information. It should be good, all your comps. Now, that's the easiest way to do it. When you come here, you save it, and you give the comp a name. In this case, we're probably going to name it the property address. I'm not going to save it because I don't really need it, but that's how you do it. You can go back down to see the RPR and see how RPR does it if you want it. And you can walk through it on RPR and start this. This process is pretty simple in RPR. You know, it's going to ask you questions, confirm facts. This information looks pretty good. You can confirm the facts and close. It says, hey, find comps. You can come over here and do it this way. And you can start picking comps from this list. It's just the only thing about this one, you really can't do the adjustments. But you probably would come out almost with the same price. You can pick your poison. Y'all ready? Let's get into the adjustment world. Here is a sales comparison adjustment from the Texas Real Estate.education site. And it gives you all these different ways to make adjustments when you get into that space. I'm going to give you this one. I'm going to share this with everybody. As you do this, you got to get into a space where you're looking at appraisals, also talking to appraisers, because this is at any given time, this changes. Here's another one that Carla did last year that she spent a lot of time on. It gives you some better price ranges for adjustments. And I'll send this out too, so you can have some type of adjustments for it as well. So you have two sources here. And on the left side, what the figures are and the price adjustment being used. And this was probably updated last year. So you have two different ones you can work from. Now, this is what you need. What we didn't show you was this. And this is where it saves you a lot of work, is here. Go back to adjustments. No, that's it right there. When you do this, I'm going to remove all this stuff real quick, right? And remove everything. And now I'm going to edit my adjustment list, because you saw what I did. I just did an auto adjustment. You need the tabs here. You're going to need this and that other sheet to set your auto adjustments up. And then to do that, you come to edit adjustment list. If you did that on your actual Flex MLS CMA chart, you probably don't have anything in there. This is the stuff that you're going to need to fill in, and it'll do the auto adjustments for you. And they're based off of this sheet. Okay, so this is where the work comes in. But once you set it once, it becomes very easy. So if you wanted to do the adjustments, you would come here and add new, do the drop down for residential, because you can do this for residential lease. You can do this for land. You can make all the adjustments for anything. Make sure it's in residential. And then you would add the field on whatever category that you wanted to. In this case, for a full bathroom, I've already got it there. You can see there, right? Residential full bathroom. It automatically adjusts this for me for 4,000 units, being $4,000 plus or minus, because that's my adjustment for full bathrooms. You have to go through this list and make your adjustments. And when you get to this, it gets very simple. You just click on auto adjustment and it does it for you.
We can only get to the screen if we're creating a CMA?
Yes, you got to be inside of a CMA. You got to create one and get to the screen. And then once you save it, it's saved and you don't have to redo it every time. So what I'm saying is that the way this works, I went through the whole CMA. And when I got to this screen,
basically you save a template, or?
Yeah, I've already saved a template for me. For you guys, when you get to your first adjustment screen, you got to take a pause. You got to go down here and edit your adjustment list before you make any adjustments. And when you do this for the very first time, you're going to say edit adjustments. It's going to bring up the screen. You're going to go to add new. And you're going to come up to residential. And now you're going to start to make your adjustments based on the sheet here.
So for this CMA that I'm trying to do for my client, can I use a previous template, basically? One of the previous templates that I have pre-saved on my Flex CMA?
You can if you've already entered your auto adjustments, but if you've never entered your auto adjustments, then no. If there's any magic or secret sauce, that's the only secret sauce in Flex that you don't get in Cloud CMA, that you don't really get in RPR, because you're not able to do the adjustments that we talked about for the IISS. It's going to automatically do the IISS if you did the auto adjust.
When you're putting in the units, do you stay on the lower end?
Over time, it's going to be based on appraisals. Over time, you'll go back and tweak. When I first did this, it was like $75 a square foot on gross living space. I think now I got in there like $32 because that's what I've seen on actual appraisals. To get started, we have something for you, but this is the range. You could get 5 appraisers on one property and you get 5 different values. So intuition is a lot. I know a lot of times people come in, that's the reason we come in with ranges. There's no reason to come in with a price because you don't need to come in with a price. You just need to come in with a range. All right. Now, if they ask you what the price should be, if I'm standing there inside the property and it looks like dog doo-doo, I'll be like, it's on the lower end. But I've been in situations where I've done this price range and it said 390, but I got it there and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. What I got on the computer was 390, or range between 385 to 390. But now that I've been here, my gut is telling me that you're about 410, 420. It's just intuition. You just got to come in and look and see what was on the computer. Hey, I didn't know you had did this expansion. Didn't know you had did this. Didn't know you put more AC units in rooms and stuff like that because I couldn't see that. And because of that, I'm going to make a judgment call on the spot. Say, okay, it's not 385 to 390. It looks like it's close to 410. So intuition does kick in here a little bit.
Oh, go for it. So I don't know if I missed it, but whenever you do the adjustments, how do you put that information manually on the cloud CMA?
You can't. No. That's the reason I tell you what I do. If I'm going for a listing presentation, I do it here first and I transfer the numbers into cloud.
Oh, so you just do it manually. Okay.
Yeah. And the only reason, if cloud come out with the ability to do the adjustments on there, I would never use Flex. And no, Tanisha, no. If that answered her question, no, I haven't. Yes, sir.
Yes, then those documents, those spreadsheets, will we have access to those?
I'm going to email it to you.
Okay, and one more question. When we're making adjustments, I know sometimes it's by intuition. Like, for example, let's say for a pool, is it usually in the $7,000 range?
Actually, it just says 7,500. The range that is out there for pools, I think, is 7,500 to maybe 12. What is it here that we got? And then we got this the last time we did our appraisal. It's actually got here $6,000 to $10,000 in ground.
Okay.
All right. But I just saw a pool the other day, I should say back in the end of last year, and the appraiser gave it 12,500. But it was up in the Franklin Mountains. That's what I'm saying. Intuition. I don't know.
Well, thank you.
Okay, that's your CMA. So training. Let's put into practice. Want to do a CMA? Why don't y'all do a CMA on that same property that I just gave y'all, which is 7408 Meadow Sage. See what you guys come up with. All right, and for the virtual folks, I'm going to go ahead and just stop the recording because I'm gonna let these guys do their CMAs and then we'll talk about it. But I think that's the end of the class per se. Stephanie, I didn't know she was there. How you doing? How's Houston? Maybe she's not there.
I'm here. This is great information, especially getting it from a completely different perspective. It's really good.
Because I didn't know you was there.
Yes.
And so I know it's probably totally different than what you guys do down there in Houston, huh?
It's not totally different. Like you were talking about the bath. Yes, definitely. We're not 3/4 bath. We're either a full bath or a half bath.
But in the PSA course, that's what they teach.
And that's what we are in the Houston area. It enforces the idea that real estate is local.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%.
Thanks for the training. Good job. Loved it.
Oh no, thank you, appreciate it. No problem. Janet, what's up?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Hi, Ben.
Did you stay along with us?
Yes, they did.
Okay, all right. Had you done this before?
Yes, I had, but it was much like on the RPR. I like that idea, how it's shorter. However, like you did mention, for the adjustments, we would have to go the other route. But I didn't know about that one, so that's awesome.
Yeah, in short time limit, not able to do a full flex CMA, you can't go wrong with RPR to get you what you need to have. If you don't know how to do one, RPR can be the shortest route, and it looks clean when you get it done. It's a good presentation too. RPR's presentation is probably just as good as Cloud CMA.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, no problem. Tanisha, you good?
Yes, sir. Thank
Is
you.
it clear as mud?
I'm gonna have to rewatch the recording.
All right. I'll probably put it out on the street next week, hopefully.
Thank you.
It'll be out there. All right, I'm gonna sign off, you guys.
Thank you, Ben. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.